Dr. Kris Respect needs to be locked up and dropped to soap because you got me messed up if you think that someone who was literally busted in the anime drawings of 10-year-olds, someone who literally paid a creep who draws sus Club Penguin pictures for a living to get himself a custom-made Club Penguin picture of his own, but someone who also texted a 13-year-old sus messages. But this just got worse because the second victim just exposed Kris for snapping them even weirder text messages when he was 14 years old and when Kris was 22. But you have to be taking a fat dookie inside my bum if you think that this Dr. Kris Respect sus creep should be anywhere close to MrBeast's channel and should be co-starring in his videos, where there are millions of kids watching MrBeast's videos. Well, it looks like MrBeast understood the assignment. Kris Tyson has officially been kicked out of the MrBeast team. Huge W for MrBeast for getting rid of this creep. Now, first things first, let's talk about Dr. Kris Respect busting on lollipop pictures. Now, really quick, for all of you normal human beings who have absolutely no idea as to what a lollipop picture is, a lollipop picture is essentially a drawing of a kid doing sus activities. But unfortunately, the legality behind these sick pictures is great. Because guess what? A common tactic that these sick Club Penguin artists use when drawing those kid characters is that they're gonna say, that kid is actually a 10,000-year-old vampire wizard. And suddenly, it's legal. But if you're a normal human being, you know damn well that being attracted and wanting to a sus picture of this animated character, who is literally 14, is disgusting. Now the sad reality is that there are a lot of people who actually defend the busting to lollipop pictures. But I am hoping that the majority of people watching this video right now are normal human beings. The following clip I'm about to show you is of someone who literally defends lollipop pictures. And just like Dr. Kris Respect, he to those pictures. As you watch that clip, I want you guys to answer this very simple question. Does the guy in that clip look like a normal human being to you?
You know, I'm not a big fan of real child, because it's kind of, I don't know, I'm not that interested in real people like that, you know, but drawn, animated child, I'm okay with, because it's drawn.
Happy birthday to you, happy birthday to you.
No, I think we can all agree when I say that that guy is not like us. Smash like if you agree. Believe it or not, but that guy, just like Kris, are degenerate creeps who need to be stopped. I know it hurts when I say this, but Kris is just like that guy in that clip. I know the truth hurts, guys. It's always the people you least expect. I mean, let me ask you this. Would you let that guy babysit your kids?
Child, I'm okay with, because it's drawn.
I mean, after all, it's just drawings. Surely his attraction to those sick drawings does not translate to reality, right? So surely letting that guy babysit your kids is not that big of a deal.
Happy birthday to you.
Let's stop the cap. There are so many red flags around Kris Tyson that I have to talk about in this video, but I have to admit that this particular segment around lollipops makes me angry. I, just like hundreds of millions of people, like to watch anime, but because of this creep, you know when people say that Dr. Kris Respect just set the LGBTQ Disney Plus movement 2,000 years back? Well, guess what? Dr. Kris Respect also set anime fans 1,000 years back. Because of these lollipop anime creeps, it's come to the point where I don't even want to tell people that I watch anime. You already know. You're gonna tell a random person that you watch anime, and they're gonna look at you and say, hey guys, this guy's busted 10,000-year-old kids. MrBeast, I know that Kris is your best friend, but when there are so many red flags on top of one another, there comes a point where you gotta be like, yeah, maybe my best friend was a weirdo since day one. That one sus Club Penguin picture that Kris Tyson literally hung, that MrBeast saw, yeah, well, maybe that Club Penguin picture was more than a red flag after all. But another red flag of Kris Tyson is how he would literally pay this Club Penguin artist, who, by the way, literally drew a sus picture of his own mother. That should give you an idea as to how creepy this Club Penguin artist is, if the drawing of Club Penguin pictures is not creepy enough. But that Club Penguin artist that Kris Tyson literally paid, who I'm not gonna say his name, by the way, because I don't want to give him attention, but that guy has got to be blood related to EDP. You know what I said earlier about how lollipop artists will literally use the defense that the characters that they're drawing are actually 10,000 years old. Well, that defense does not work with the Club Penguin artist that Kris Tyson paid, because he didn't only draw lollipop pictures, but he also drew real life kids, such as this YouTuber's daughter, who was 8 years old at the time, doing sus activities. Now, I don't know, guys, I don't want to jump to any conclusion, but it seems to me that this is another piece of evidence that points to how lollipop artists and lollipop consumers are all degenerates in the head. And they're all potential criminals, potential PDF files. And why is Dr. Kris Respect paying and literally supporting a Club Penguin artist who did something this disgusting? Well, I don't know, guys. This might be another hot take of mine, but it seems to me that Kris Tyson most likely saw themselves within that Club Penguin artist, because they got along really well. I mean, they would crack jokes on Twitter together, and by jokes I mean Kris Tyson would literally tweet PDF file-esque stuff to this Club Penguin artists. But color me surprised because there's now a third red flag. Turns out that Kris Tyson was actually sending sus messages to an actual 13-year-old when he was 20 years old. Now it blows my mind because there are actual brain-dead, mentally impaired people who are unironically defending Kris Tyson and saying that all of those text messages were just edgy jokes. Please, whoever's watching this video right now, I know you're not brain dead, right? I know that you agree that if you're 20 years old, if you're sending sus messages to a 13-year-old, it's never jokes. It's never okay. It's just creepy and borderline illegal. Man, like, I don't know if I'm just getting too old or something, but back in my days, texting a kid messages like that was never okay. I've seen other brain-dead people defending Kris because guess what? The actual victim, the 13-year-old who was getting sus messages from Kris, recently spoke out on Twitter, and he said that Kris didn't do anything wrong. He didn't feel like Kris did anything wrong at all. I don't want to be the guy to say this, but when you're the one getting groomed, if you've been successfully groomed, well, you're gonna feel like nothing wrong's been done, especially if the realization that you've been groomed and the trauma has yet to set in. That's literally the definition of successful grooming. But of course, leave it to the brain-dead Kris Tyson defenders to say, oh, see, the victim doesn't feel like he's a victim. He's fine, he's completely fine. Kris Tyson's innocent. Yeah, because the guy busting the 10-year-old characters is a good, wholesome, normal human being, and you should be around kids. If you're actively seeking lollipop stuff, paying people to draw you specific customized lollipop pictures, and texting a 13-year-old inappropriate stuff, I'm sorry, but you're gonna be locked up, bruh. Let me give you a quick example. If a 20-year-old gets busted by the police for sending sus messages to a kid, and then that kid says, oh no, wait, that 20-year-old? That's my friend. Is the 20-year-old still in the wrong? Yes. It seems to me that this victim, who is now 20 years old, still thinks that what was done to him when he was young is okay. But we all know that it wasn't. Not at all. There's this other YouTuber I made a video about. You probably know who he is. After all, he went viral for literally showing his hairy gat for the world to see on YouTube. That YouTuber hosted a Discord server where he would invite kids, send sus messages to them, and let adults, like grown-ass adults, send sus advice to them. Like advice such as, this is how you should touch sus parts properly. Like that YouTuber turned out to be a degenerate creep. That YouTuber literally knows that most of his audience is composed of kids, and he is still to this day showing his sus, disgusting parts, knowing that most of his viewers are going to be kids. But the point I'm making is that when you're a grown adult, and you're sending sus messages to kids, 100% of the time, you turn out to be a degenerate creep. And Kris Tyson is no exception. There is also this funny argument that I'm seeing on Reddit, where a lot of people are saying stuff like, the people attacking Kris, they're only doing so because Kris is trans. What? You understand that by saying that, you are literally setting back the LGBT movement 5,000 more years, right? I'ma keep it real. I don't give a f what Kris is. If you're a weirdo, like EDP, Dr. Disrespect, I'm gonna call you out and you deserve to lose your platform. That's it. If Dr. Disrespect got cancelled for texting a minor back in 2017, 2018, you know damn well that Dr. Kris Respect is also getting cancelled. You won't believe it, guys. It turns out that Kris was a 2-time champion. Another victim of his just came out a few hours ago, and turns out that Kris was also snapping a 14-year-old inappropriately. And I also find it funny that as soon as this came out, Kris instantly wiped out his whole Snapchat history. And this lollipop buster is definitely not guilty, guys. But don't worry, guys. According to Redditords, you must be an enemy of the LGBT movement if you attack Kris. I mean, you look at these messages and it's also cooked. It's just weird. Why is a 20-year-old texting a 13 and now a 14-year-old? I just have to say that I feel bad for Kris's family. I feel bad for the kid, for the wife, and whatever they're going through is sad. But let's combine all of these red flags. 1. Kris Tyson is literally the same person as this guy, an absolute weirdo who consumes lollipops. 2. He pays an actual Club Penguin artist who is not only drawing lollipop pictures, but also real-life kid pictures. 3. Dressing up his kid. I'm sorry, I said it. It is a red flag. In my book, it is a red flag. Like, on its own, it's not a big deal. But if you combine Kris dressing up his kid and all of the other red flags, such as him allegedly grooming a 13-year-old and a 14-year-old while dressing up his own kid, suddenly starts to look a little bit more than just a little game for fun. 4. Literally texting a 13-year-old sus stuff, discussing sus addiction and whatnot. That's not even a red flag. That's just borderline criminal. 5. I'm just finding this out now, but apparently Kris would literally show sus videos to his audience, knowing that a lot of them would be kids, and he would show leaks of celebrity girls. And by leaks, I'm talking about, you know, sus leaks.
She sent pictures to her boyfriend, her now ex-boyfriend, and he leaked them out, and but the link's in the description if you want to see them. I mean, I'm not endorsing people to go look at somebody else's private business.
Why even do this? Why would he share leaks on YouTube to his audience where I'm willing to bet that most of his viewers were kids? You know what? Maybe it's a good thing. Maybe it's a good thing that we cannot comprehend why Kris even did this in the first place. Because that just confirms that Kris is not like us. I'm sorry, Mr. Beat. I'm sorry, but you gotta kick him out. Which is exactly what he did. Kris also issued a pathetic response following their firing and removal from the MrBeast team, where Dr. Kris Respect essentially says that it was mutually agreed upon that it is best if I step away from the MrBeast team to focus on my family and mental health. Your bum got fired. Let's be real. And this is just PR terms for MrBeast got rid of your ass. That mental health card just makes me even more mad. Like, now your mental health takes a priority. Now your family takes a priority. I don't know about you guys, but I personally take this trash response as Kris saying that they haven't done anything wrong. They're not apologizing to their victims. And in another tweet, they're literally doubling down, really saying that it was all just edgy jokes. I love this edgy joke logic. Literally buying Club Penguin pictures from a Club Penguin artist, texting not one but 2 kids. Inappropriate stuff when you're in your 20s. Nah, that's just you being edgy again. Literally busing to lollipop pictures. That's just being edgy. I don't know about you guys, but by that logic, EDP and Dr. Disrespect, when they were texting kids, they're both innocent guys because they were probably also just making edgy jokes. But I want to talk a little bit about MrBeast finally kicking Kris out. Now, some MrBeast members have been saying that MrBeast knew all along what kind of person Kris was.
Why is he around? Certified lover boy, certified.
Kris is the tip of the iceberg. And when Jake the Viking says MrBeast knew, yeah, MrBeast knew. I heard many times that Ava, Kris Tyson, is a major liability, but they can't get rid of her because she's already threatened legal action and she knows too much. And when all this information comes out about everything that she knew, everything other people know, I promise you on everything MrBeast has done.
Now, I do want to give MrBeast the benefit of the doubt. Not a lot has been said since Kris firing, so take everything I say with a grain of salt, but this is obviously tinfoil hat territory. I don't know if that's true, but I will say this. If it is true, knowing that your channel primarily caters to kids and choosing to still defend a potential PDF file within your team is some Hollywood levels of messed up. But if all these MrBeast insiders are just clout chasers spewing nonsense, and just like us, MrBeast just found out about Kris being a creep, then I can't imagine discovering that your best friend was a degenerate creep busting to lollipop pictures and texting kids behind the scenes. I can't imagine how shook MrBeast must be if that's the case. I want to make it clear, as I'm releasing this video, there has been no evidence whatsoever of MrBeast knowing about Kris all along, and I'm really hoping that he really didn't know about Dr. Kris Respect's true nature.
Money, 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 money.